Hey guys, Nathan here from Worship Calling. Kind of a different video today. This is more of a tech video. This is kind of for my gearheads and my tech guys, worship leaders. Um, as some of you know, I recently ditched my Line 6 Helix that I've been using for years with worship calling and leading worship, and got a Fender Tone Master Pro to replace it. And there's a new update. Fender just dropped a firmware update, and it has got some features I've been anxious for them to release. And so I'm just showing you kind of how I'm using some one of these new features. They did also add the Marshall 800 amp to the lineup. Awesome, loving it. But the biggest bang in this firmware, in my opinion, is the ability to send MIDI change controls from the Tone Master Pro to whatever interface you're connected to. Now, keep in mind, at this point in time, it does not support MIDI over USB or Bluetooth. So you're going to have to dig out the old school MIDI cable and connect it to an interface. I purchased a very simple inline USB MIDI interface that I'm connecting to the Tone Master Pro, and that's how I'm doing it. Um, I won't be surprised if at some point we get MIDI over USB and possibly MIDI over Bluetooth, but we'll just have to see what the future holds. But I'm happy right now. This is working. My biggest goal was to get rid of my AirTurn. So if you're not one of the people that is using a digital app to manage chord charts or sheet music, one, I highly recommend you do. It makes life so much easier. Key changes, just managing, hundreds of song files is so much easier than lugging around three ring binders full of printed off chord charts or sheet music. It makes things so much easier. There's never been a better time to get into it. It's cheap now. I mean, you can get tablets, um, Android or iOS, Windows based tablets for relatively cheap now. And they all have apps. They all have apps. I know on the iPad, there's a lot of people that use OnSong. I'm not a Mac person. I am a PC guy. I love Windows. So I'm using the best, in my opinion, the absolute best, hands down, application to manage sheet music or chord charts in the Android or Windows platform, which is MobileSheets. This is MobileSheets. Um, it's the best, in my opinion. You can create set lists. You can store all your songs. There's a lot of features here. Lots of really, really, really good stuff in here. So this is MobileSheets. And one thing that happens when you make the jump to a digital um, sheet music or chord chart manager app, the one thing you get into that everybody does is you get to a spot where you need to be able to turn the page. And all these apps, at least most of the apps support, if it's a touch screen, you can just swipe it, right? You can just swipe from right to left to turn the page. You can send the arrow keys if you got a keyboard. You can right arrow, left arrow. So what ends up happening is most everybody ends up getting just a small little foot pedal AirTurn device, Bluetooth, that connects to your tablet, and it simulates those, that right arrow, left arrow. So what I've wanted to do is get rid of my AirTurn and not have to pack an AirTurn around and just use the Tone Master Pro to turn my pages. And now we can. Now we can because this latest update, they have added the feature when you go into the Footswitch assignment, there's a new option of MIDI Change Control. So I've already got my next and previous here, and I've created a MIDI Change Control for my next. And you can set these values to whatever you want, as long as they're both unique, as long as they're not sending the exact same change control. You can set them really to whatever you want. I just chose MIDI channel 1, change control number is 1, the active change control value is 1, and the inactive value is 0. And so in another video where I'm going to kind of get into more complex things I'm doing with the Tone Master Pro and MIDI change controls, we'll get into where we really have to use that inactive value. But just for now, you don't need to be concerned about it. You can do it with just the active value. You can think of it this way: when you press the foot switch, you actually send two completely separate change control messages. You send one when you press it, and then it sends a follow-up when you release it. So that first one, when you press it, it sends a value of 1. When I release it, it sends a value of 0. And so kind of the same thing over here. The previous I've got set to 2, and value of 2, inactive value of 0. Obviously, you're going to want these to be momentary switches. You don't want these latching custom labels. You guys know all the custom label stuff. Name it whatever you want. Next page, previous, whatever, forward, back, whatever. So I've now got the Tone Master Pro, because of this new amazing update, sending those MIDI change controls through those old school MIDI cables into that USB MIDI interface. So now I'm going to hop over to MobileSheets. And I don't know where it's at, and you probably have to dig into the manual on if you're using an iPad and OnSong. I know OnSong can receive MIDI, it can send MIDI, it can do all the same things that MobileSheets do, and so just kind of, you can use this video to get the idea, but you'll probably have to dig into the manual on OnSong to figure out how exactly to do it. But this is how you do it with MobileSheets. Go into settings. Let me turn off the camera. Go into settings, and you'll see the section for MIDI settings. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to configure MIDI connections. So what this is this is all the MIDI devices that are connected to your tablet, and you select which ones you want MobileSheets to recognize for input devices and which ones you want MobileSheets to send output, MIDI output. So that's going to be yet another video, because with the ability to send and receive MIDI change controls with the Tone Master Pro now, we could easily select that USB interface that I'm using to connect the Tone Master Pro with to change my preset based on a song that I load in MobileSheets. So if I have my set list built out and I know that this song is, every time I play this song, I always use my Marshall 800 preset, it'll load the Marshall 800 preset whenever that song's loaded. That's something we'll dive into later. So for right now, for just ditching the AirTurn, you just need to focus on input, because all we're doing is sending MIDI from the Tone Master Pro to MobileSheets. We're not doing anything the other way around. So I've got my USB interface selected. MobileSheets is now listening to that interface for any MIDI commands. So now we're just going to create some actions. Now I still got these in here. Let me clear them out, because I'm going to go through the whole steps here on how to create these. So now I have nothing. There's no actions it takes on any MIDI signals it receives, right? So I'm going to create one. And the first one I'm going to create is next page. And as you can see, there is a whole slew of actions you can take. If you're using backtracks, you can start and stop the audio. You can go to the next audio track that's associated with that song. There's just a ton of stuff that you can do just in MobileSheets with MIDI commands. So I'm going to focus on the next page, because that's what I want. I want to say, go to the next page on the song I have open. And now you add the MIDI command that you want it to listen for to turn the page. Now we could go through here and we could just manually put these in, but what I'm going to do is they have this nice little listen feature where it just actively listens for any MIDI commands that get sent, and then you can select the one you want. So right now I'm going to press the next foot switch that I created on the Tone Master Pro, and there are the two MIDI commands that it sends, the one when I press it and the one when I release it. So we're going to want the press. I'm going to select him, and we're done. I'm going to create another one for previous page. Again, going to listen. Now I'm going to press that foot switch I created for previous. There's the press, there's the release. Select the press, and we're done. Now, when I go into a song, I can turn the page to the next song just by pressing the foot switch on my Tone Master Pro. I can go to the previous page. It works flawlessly. So that is how I ditched my AirTurn with the new update from the Tone Master Pro. Hopefully that got some ideas going of ways that you could leverage MIDI commands to do all kinds of different stuff. And also, just so you know, this is the set for Live and Raw, the new album coming out, Worship Calling Live and Raw. Really excited for this to release. You can pre-save it now on Spotify. It will be available on all digital platforms February 21st. This was kind of a cool, just single take run through live studio recording of some new songs, some previously released songs. So be sure to check that out. Like us on Facebook and all those good things. So anyway, more videos to come on just how I'm have modified my workflow as things evolve with the Tone Master Pro. So thanks for checking it out. Later, guys.